How's it going, guys? Welcome to 5.2. Promised you guys I would make another video on release, and of course a few changes have gone out. But for those of you who did not watch my first video, I'm actually just going to go over all of the changes. That way it's a nice big summation of how we're looking for 5.2. Gonna start off with the talent changes. Looking at Soul of the Forest. Changed from 20% or 20 energy upon leaving an eclipse to 40. This doesn't mean anything going into solar, but going into lunar, it has the potential to save us one cast. Alright, before, sorry, I worded that wrong. Before, Soul of the Forest had a potential to save us one cast going into lunar, and a guarantee to save us one cast going into solar. Now it's a guaranteed to save us a cast going into either. In my opinion, Soul of the Forest, on Sims anyways, Soul of the Forest doesn't compare for this tier. When we get our 4-piece, it might change. People are gonna have to do some math about that. Right now it's not looking as promising as I had hoped. In all honesty, it makes our DPS rotation a lot more fluid, or at least it feels that way to me. Yeah, our rotation's kind of clunky, but it really did feel a lot more fluid with Soul of the Forest. Incarnation has remained unchanged. Get back to it. Force of Nature, the damage that the trees deal has been increased by 100%. Surprisingly, this actually seems highest on Patchwork, from my understanding, but Incarnation is still better because you can, yeah, stuff like damage modifiers, like on Jinrock, the damage modifier from Lucidity, I'm pretty sure it's, no, Fluidity, my bad. The damage modifier from Fluidity on top of Incarnation is just stupid. And there's damage modifiers on almost every boss off the top of my head. Jinrock, Tordos, who cares about everything else? There's one on G-Kun. When you think about Council of Elders, the fact that there's multiple targets for multi-dotting means that Incarnation is better than a single target DPS increase that is Force of Nature. So right now Incarnation is best in our gear anyways. We'll see how that plays out throughout the patch. Heart of the Wild has remained unchanged as a Dream of Scenarios, which is really unfortunate because it's not appealing at all to us. It's arguable on Sims that it might almost be kind of mediocre. Whatever. Nature's Vigil has changed. Instead of 3-minute cooldowns to 1.5, but instead of 20% damage and healing, it's now 10%. So that reduces the amount of burst that we do by 10%, but it increases the amount of sustain that we do. This is not a preferred talent because it lines up very poorly. The second time around, you do have to use it on cooldown so that it aligns with Incarnation and or Celestial Alignment. So it's not really preferred. But who knows? It's preference. It really is. If for some reason they hotfix one of the fights so that it's Spine of Deathwing, then Nature's Vigil and Force of Nature would probably be the best because DPS cooldowns. So that's all for talents. I don't know what I want to go over next. Whatever. We'll go over with just the changes. Our dots are now snapshot to crit. They've been snapshot int, they've been snapshot mastery, and they've been snapshot haste. It's very apparent. If you refresh your dots in an eclipse, then they have the benefit of that eclipse for the remainder of their duration, as with Nature's Grace. Let's just go into my gear. Oh, sexy gear. Look at that. Sexy 510 item level. Hyper sexy. Let's go down here and look at my crit chance. I'm not even self-buffed. Alright, self-buffed. I'm at 27.52% crit chance. Let's go ahead here and get some procs. Look at my crit chance. 3.2%. It's gone up 5% already with 2 procs. It's gone up 6%. Alright, this is really important, guys. 5% bonus crit when you have procs up on top of raid buff on flask and food. Just think of it as 5% when you have 2-ish procs up, depending on what procs they are. This is noteworthy. Understand that since our dots are now snapshot crit as well as int, that refreshing dots more tuned to when you have procs up is better. If you're going to clip your dot by 1 tick in order to get 4 procs worth in that Moonfire instead of 2, then it's chances are it's worth it to clip it by 1 tick. It's something that everyone should be paying attention to. It's late God, and it's something really noteworthy. Remember that int yields crit, so when you have more int procs, you do have more crit, and so it's multiplicative, I guess is what I'm trying to say. This thus makes Lei Shen's trinket pretty damn good. Their intent was for Balance Druids just to be machine gunning Star Surge procs after it. It's really good if you're amazing at reaction time and there's enough mobs or whatever, you can get like 3 Moonfires or Sunfires off. Oh, excuse me. With the 100% crit bonus. And then you just machine gun Star Surge procs like there's no tomorrow. And then the Star Surge procs will extend the dots, thus allowing you to machine gun for a longer duration. Which is just absurd. You can machine gun them for like more than 20 seconds. Oh my god. Another change that has been implemented on the patch notes, it says 9% bonus damage to Wrath, Starfire, and Star Surge. This leads me to believe that they're trying to push us to more sustained damage, but B, it doesn't make it perfectly clear what they actually changed about it. From my understanding, it is 9% base damage increase, as well as 9% scaling damage. That's what I believe I read on MMO. Someone can feel free to correct me on that. Don't take my word on it, but from my understanding, that is how it works right now, which actually makes int better and also makes Heart of the Wild better. Something just to know or to take note of. Now, moving on to our 2 and 4 pieces for tier 15, I do believe that those are all the changes that they have made that are relevant to PvE. I don't care about Typhoon change. I don't care about Cyclone change. I don't care about Symbiosis changes. Our 2 piece is 10% crit chance on Star Surge. Going back to this proc thing, if I have these procs, when I get one more, come on, there we go. What's my crit chance right now? 31%. For your flask food, I'm at 35 with these procs. Oh my god, I'm almost hitting 40% plus mage buff. Plus my 2-piece. That Star Surge is going to have more than a 50% chance to crit. That's a huge break point. It really is. Knowing that there is a 50-50 shot that your Star Surge will crit allows you to do dumber things, which doesn't make any sense at all. It allows you to say, well, I got a Star Surge proc, and I'm 2 casts away from getting into Eclipse. My Sunfire is about to fall off. Is it worth refreshing? Well, you can say I got a Star Surge proc. There's a 50-50 chance that it will extend it for 1 more tick, which thus makes it okay for me to get that extra cast off. It allows you to do stuff like that. You're playing an RNG game, but we are a crit-based class, so it's something that you just have to deal with. If you do get your 2 and 4 piece for tier 15, understand that you will be losing the 4 piece from tier 14, because math. So we're going back up to 5,273 haste as a breakpoint. Right now, There are thresholds where haste and crit become pretty much useless, but if you're in a top 100 guild, probably know more than I do, and you probably care more than I do. No, I care a lot. But you probably have read up a lot more about it. As for right now, I believe haste trumps mastery. We'll see how that changes if and when you get your 4-piece. But for now, still going haste breakpoint, crit, excess haste, mastery. That's how we're doing it right now. There is one very important thing that I wanted to cover. I've been getting a lot of people saying, wondering how our movement is going to scale. Let's see. Let's read one from Vicky Dugar. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'm concerned about our scaling and movement. Movement is going up on many fights in Throne of Thunder, and that reflect overload is going to suck on council without scaling. Hell yeah, it does. I kill myself. They even nerfed it to 25%. I still kill myself. Nature's Grace and meta uptime. Don't care about haste. It does devalue haste as a stat. Scaling and movement. From my experience in Throne of Thunder, I'm currently 6 of 12. We've raided 3 nights. Total of 9 hours. So I'm 6 of 12. My view on movement in Throne of Thunder is that yes, there is a lot of movement. There are a lot of ground effects they have to move out of. There's a lot of mechanics that make you have to follow stuff like Horadon, and you have to move into fluidity, and you have to move when you have lightning. Whole bunch of stuff that actually makes you have to move. From what I've seen, is that we can get by multi-dotting and Star Surge spamming. That may not be on like Megara. On Megara, you're gonna want to be, you're not really gonna want to be multi-dotting. You're just gonna want to be sitting there hard casting. Multi-dotting might be a single target increase, but not by much. It might not be worth it. But from what I've seen is if I get the fire on Megara from the fire heads, or if I get a venom head shooting venom poop at me, what I do is I tab over. I start running away from the fire. I start running away from the venom. I tab to the second head. I multi-dot it, and then I tab back to the first. This allows me to use globals to end up getting more Star Surge procs. And then in the meantime, if I have any Star Surge procs, use them on the original, or on the boss that you're trying to kill. So you're not losing DPS. You're not particularly losing effective DPS either, because you're going to get more Star Surge procs from using those globals. I think that using, on a fight like Horadon, there's enough ads to keep you multi-dotting. Movement is not really an issue. You can pretty much go through that whole fight with only casting insta-casts. Same with Council. Jinrock, kind of different. There's not too much movement on Jinrock. It's probably the closest to Patchwork that we'll see. I haven't been to Primordius yet, so I don't know for sure. But unlike G-Kun and stuff, yeah, there's a lot of movement. And yeah, it's mostly single target, and there's not a lot we can do about it. Balance Druids are not particularly good for that fight. But yeah, you really have to be smart about your instacasts. You can use them to cheese movement mechanics, and you need to do that to your best ability to maximize both your DPS and your effective DPS, which is more important. I don't know if I've covered everything. I think I have. Just a quick synopsis. That was not quick. It was a synopsis of all of the changes in 5.2 and how they actually affect us. So yeah. So right now I'm running Incarnation Heart of the Wild. Whether or not that's best, I've seen some druids running Nature's Vigil. I don't know. Heart of the Wild was supposedly best on Sims even in Tier 14, but dude, Sims are Sims. You know, they're not the real deal. I can't always trust them. Anyways, Blizzard is trying to move everything into a 5% delta window. They're trying to essentially balance everything, which is near impossible, especially on fights where you have to account for moving and multi-dotting and shit like that. Um, anyways, I would like to thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Call me I'm fat in the comments. I really don't care. Um, but anyways, thank you guys for watching. Have a good one. I'll catch you next time.